Good morning. My name is Egar White, and I'm a master's in diplomacy student in peace negotiating and military history. And I did lots and lots of analysis for our government in all the branches of the military, both in Hawaii and checking out some information and bases and such overseas. So when I tell you that I have watched reporting of Mr. Putin sitting with 43 reporters from nations of the world and saying, why aren't you going back to your people and telling them the truth? Do you realize what you've done? Do you understand what you're doing when you're standing on the side of America? Putin is our friend, and he wants to stop the New World Order from taking over, because if the New World Order wins, it's only for the sake of a few elite companies, a few elite banks, a few elite people who are already been in or have been in office to run the entire world. It is what I'd like to call spoiled child syndrome, where they've been in ruling and power, and they feel that thrive or that energy from controlling absolutely everything, and they simply can't get enough of it. And Putin has been the only person who's been silently around the world, speaking with Queen Elizabeth, speaking with Miss Rousseff, speaking with leaders from all over, Erdogan and others, and trying to get them to follow his lead that we need to stand up for nationalism and countries being independent. And that's not what's going to happen. If you'd like to know what's planned, America has been planning a false flag attack to come imminently very soon. These little police shootings and such are tests to see how different areas will react. And they thought they had us when they went to the one in Milwaukee. And when instead the people came back that night and for several nights and stood there and prayed and sang songs and didn't take to the streets, even though they had a few select people there trying to turn it into a massive riot, they were disappointed. And unfortunately, this would have been the better of several options, because what they're planning on doing next is they're planning on bombing an American city. No, not Russia. U.S. is planning another false flag. They've been trying to do the racial push. Obama has done nothing but race baiting since he's been in office. And the Clintons before he, with 3 strikes laws, just because if you can push something into saying you mailed a letter and that makes it a felony, and then they can keep you in prison forever. Well, these were designed because even the state of Florida makes some $60 million a year off of slave labor from people in the prisons. So you have to understand that this has been in force and being pushed for a long time. So you have the 3 things that could be the false flag, which triggers the overtaking of all power by, and the alleged 3 persons that would run this new institution are allegedly going to be Mr. Bill Clinton, Mr. George Bush Jr., and Obama himself. And where we get this information is directly from a tape which has now been removed. I had it hidden in several areas in my computer, and I was readily all over the YouTube. So if any of you have it, please send me a video or a link for that. But it was of a pre-recorded speech of Obama saying, oh my gosh, you're Americans and you're so strong, and the roads all over America are now, pretty potholed up and not able to be easily transported. So hold on for a few more days, and we will tell you where to go for distribution points in order to get food, medical supplies, and such. And he mentioned that the area that was bombed was Area 3. which, if you know by the FEMA camp maps, Zone 3 is like Manhattan and south of there. So this pre-recorded announcement was set to go out a couple of days after bombing happened. They want to leave people in chaos. They want to take out all electronics, all communication, and all water. And once this happens for a few days, a lot of people will panic and run into the streets with gun, and they will be met with not just resistance, but with giant, huge tanks and even NATO soldiers. They've hired people to come here and be basically mercenaries whose original roots are Korea and China and Russia, is what they claim, the countries that they have brought them from. And I cannot imagine Putin going along with this, because he has worked so hard. When Malaysia Air was shot down, that was a error in call sign. If you look at the map of the exact time of the incident, there are two other planes which cross exactly in the same proximity, 1, 2, 3 behind each other. And the Russian technology is such that they were able to somehow, when the other planes came within proximity, they switched call signs with a different plane. And so the Malaysia Air that was shot down was actually an assassination attempt by America through Israeli-held secret bases throughout the EU to attack and try to assassinate President Putin. And you see this in the newscasts when he's discussing, well, why did you give immunity and protection to whistleblowers in your country? And Putin came back and said, well, wait a minute. The guy traveled from this country to this country to this country. He's in America, and all of a sudden you go, da-da-da-da, we're looking for this guy, and we're going to try to extradite him. Well, America knew they didn't have any extradition agreements whatsoever with Russia, and that several key people helped the United States come up with basically BS plans to get rid of all the Russian Olympics, including all the handicapped Olympics. I mean, do we have no honor whatsoever? So I'd just like you all to keep that in mind and know that Russia has done everything physically possible to try and stop the New World Order from coming into play. And Obama and his minions, and Hillary and her minions, although she's not to be a part of it and doesn't know it yet, they're going to cut her out, from taking over New World Order. So Bill is supposed to play a part in it. There are people that are alleging that Prince Harry knows all about the scheme, and he's hoping to be a part of it, but he's already a part of it because he holds the patent on the mark of the beast, or the microchip, that all people will be forced to take on. So it comes down to Putin trying to save the world, trying to talk to other nations and say, we need to stand up against American imperialism. And I wholeheartedly agree, because when martial law breaks loose and we're all taken to FEMA camps, our soldiers have been being weeded out for several years now. First, they denied that anyone could pray. And we're going, why are all these soldiers committing suicide now? Well, I don't know. Maybe they're looking at what the pictures are on the drones after they've been given what they were told is a military target, and find out it's an innocent, awkward, backward, tiny little village, but that they're all Christians, and bombing of Christian schools and hospitals and such. And then they're not allowing any individuals in the military to pray. Why are we paying sex change operations for people in the military, but yet allowing other people in the military not even the right to pray or have a clergy or pastor available to them to pray? And they won't allow any clergies or pastors in that believe in a true and ordained God. They just kind of say things to the air. And then we're like, why are all these veterans committing suicide? And they're taking so many of our boys and sending them to all these countries to protect corporations that aren't paying any taxes to America anyway. So we're sending our people out to lose their lives for the sake of money for other countries. And Putin has been the only world leader that's been standing up and trying to talk to other nations and say, don't do this. And we know that he's gone and he had a meeting where he told such to 43 reporters, all different countries. I didn't hear anything about it after that meeting, that a single one of them came back and told us the truth. Everybody is being so selfish and in the interest of their job only that they're willing to let our own administration bomb our own country in order to create this massive world hegemony that they've been planning for almost 100 years. So please stand up and write and call your congressmen and senators right now, because they haven't done a single thing in the last 8 years. They haven't had to. Everything Obama wanted to do, he did by executive order. And they weren't out of his head. They came from other people and other directives. You know, and everybody's joking about how he has to stare at the teleprompter. You can't tell me that he can design a 1,500-page legal brief for each and every executive order that's out there. And we need to start reading them. How about Executive Order 136903, where it says anyone who is against the government, which is going to come, should be beheaded by guillotine. And congratulations, there's already waiting 15,000 guillotines at every single army base, both in America and in Germany. And now we know the reason for this love affair romance with Miss Merkel. So everybody, if you'd like to get more information or if you have anything to share, please send it to me at buffalostudy@yahoo.com. I appreciate all and every input and all and every donation that you can at PayPal/buffalostudy@yahoo.com. I have lost every single property for me and my family. I've been chased through fields with guns. I've had guys jump through windows with guns. I was thrown into a solitary steel cell for 23 days and not allowed to speak to anybody. All for the sake of being a whistleblower on some of these things that are going on. So I can either go out and get a regular day job and just, check people's bread and milk and things all day long, or I can stay here and be with you because I have so much information that I want to share and get out to you while we still have a country. Thank you so much. And please say prayers for me, prayers of protection, and I'll be saying prayers for you. Thank you so much. Take care.